Hey, horror lovers. One email gives you 48 hours to live unless you hit forward. The other, a voice that whispers your address when you're most alone. These aren't just stories. They feel real. Make sure you're not home alone tonight. Like and subscribe if these stories keep you up at night. And let me know in the comments. Would you forward that email or take your chances? Let the horror begin. I never believed in cursed emails. That kind of thing felt like a leftover myth from early internet days, the kind of message people used to joke about in high school computer labs. Forward this to 7 people or die in your sleep. Everyone laughed, hit delete, and moved on. But I stopped laughing last year. It started with a guy named Owen Keller. He was one of those people you wouldn't expect to be part of anything scary. Average guy, worked nights at a warehouse, lived in a rented apartment a few blocks from mine. We weren't close friends, more like drinking buddies through mutual friends. But I remember exactly what he said the night it began. "Dude," he told me, half drunk at the bar. "You remember those old chain emails? One just popped up in my inbox, like old school creepy, forward or die type." I asked if he opened it. He nodded, laughed, and said it was probably just spam. He never forwarded it. 2 days later, he was found dead in his apartment. Cause of death: unknown. His neighbor reported a weird smell, and when the cops forced their way in, they found Owen face down on the floor. No bruises, no blood, no sign of a struggle, but his eyes were open, and his mouth was twisted into something between shock and terror. I thought it was a weird coincidence, until it happened again. My co-worker Dana got the same email the following week. She made a joke about it during our lunch break, reading it out loud. "If you choose to ignore this message, your body will be found within 48 hours. Your last breath will be watched. Your last thought will be regret. Forward this to 5 people to live." We all rolled our eyes, but she never forwarded it either. That was a Tuesday. By Thursday morning, the police were outside her apartment. Her cousin found her slumped at her desk, the same frozen expression Owen had. Again, no signs of trauma. Just that look of someone who died seeing something they couldn't explain. At that point, I should have gone to the police. Or maybe I should have gotten rid of my email altogether. Instead, I told myself I was being paranoid, until I got the email myself. It hit my inbox at 2:41 a.m. Subject line in all caps: "Final warning." I stared at it for a long time before opening it. The message was short. "You know the rules. 5 forwards, 48 hours, or someone watches you die." There were no links, no attachments, just those lines in red text, and 5 empty fields where the recipient emails were supposed to go. I wanted to delete it. I really did. But part of me, the part that had seen 2 people die already, hesitated. I forwarded it to 5 people. I didn't think it would matter who. So I sent it to 5 random contacts: an old professor, a cousin I barely talked to, 2 co-workers, and one of my old gaming buddies. Then I closed my laptop and tried to sleep. That was when things got worse. 2 days passed and I stayed alive. But the people I had sent the email to didn't. One of them, my old professor, had a heart attack while reading in his backyard. His wife said she saw someone standing near the trees, watching him moments before he collapsed. But when she turned around, they were gone. My cousin, the one I barely spoke to, was found dead in his car, parked just down the street from his workplace. Locked doors, no wounds, same frozen face. I had followed the rules, but somehow it still felt like I had done something wrong. So I tried to trace the email. I took it to a friend of mine named Troy, who worked in IT. He was the kind of guy who knew how to dig into metadata, find IP addresses, all that stuff. I asked him to see where the email had come from. He agreed to help. That night, he called me around midnight. His voice was shaky. I could hear typing in the background. Man, I don't know what this is, but it's not normal. The origin address is encrypted. Like, badly. But it keeps pinging locations near cemeteries, like every few hours. I asked if it was some kind of prank. He said no. His voice dropped. I think someone is sending these on purpose. Like, watching who opens them. I asked if he forwarded it. He laughed nervously. Number, I don't play games like that. 2 days later, he was gone. That was when I knew this wasn't just some old internet curse. Someone was behind it. Someone real. So I started digging deeper. There had been other cases, news stories that had gone unnoticed, mostly written off as coincidence or heart failure. But every time I dug through obituaries that mentioned no known cause, I found some small connection. The victim had received a strange email days before. Sometimes it was a chain message, sometimes a fake newsletter. But always the warning was buried inside, and in every case the person either forwarded it and passed the curse along, or ignored it and died. I tried going to the authorities, but they brushed it off. They said unless I had proof, there was nothing they could do. Digital hoaxes, they said, don't count as threats. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I sent the email again, but this time I added a message. Whoever you are, I know you're watching. I want to talk. Name the place. An hour later, I got a reply. No text, no signature, just one photo, a street corner downtown. I went there. There was no one there. Just a rusted old mailbox with something taped to the side. A single Polaroid. It showed me asleep in my bed, from inside my room. That night, I didn't sleep. The next morning, my inbox had another message. You broke the chain. You're next. I used to think prank calls were harmless, stupid jokes teenagers played when they were bored. But after what happened last year, I don't even leave my phone ringer on at night anymore. It started in October. Cold had settled early that fall, and I was living alone in a second-floor apartment just outside a small town in Illinois. I worked nights at a gas station, so I was used to being awake when the rest of the world slept. That night, my shift ended at 2:45 a.m. I was halfway through brushing my teeth when my phone buzzed. I glanced over, expecting a text from my manager, but it wasn't a message. It was a call. No caller ID. I don't usually answer those, but I'd been trying to sell some old furniture on Facebook Marketplace, so I figured maybe it was someone calling late. I picked up. For a few seconds, there was only silence. Then a voice, whispery and calm, spoke my full name, followed by my exact address. Evan Klein, 43 Norwood Street. Then the line went dead. No laughter, no follow-up, just silence. I stood there, frozen, toothbrush in hand, staring at my phone screen like it would explain something. I waited. I checked the door lock. I told myself someone probably found my info online. Some creepy loser trying to scare me. But the next night, someone else got the call. A woman named Jenna who lived just 2 buildings down from me. She worked mornings at the bakery and had a dog she always walked around midnight. The news said she never came back inside. They found her body 2 days later near the train tracks. No witnesses, no leads. The same night she went missing, her sister said Jenna had answered a call at 3:01 a.m. The police didn't connect it to mine. Why would they? I never reported it. But the next call came a night later, to a man named Thomas who lived across town. He worked as a night guard at a warehouse, told a coworker during break that he got a call from someone who whispered his name and address. They found his body in the trunk of his car the next morning, strangled. No signs of robbery or motive. The papers ran the stories separately. The news called it strange, but not linked. I was probably the only person who knew the pattern, and even I didn't want to believe it at first. But then, it happened again. And this time, I knew the victim personally. Her name was Brooke. We dated back in high school, still kept in touch now and then. She called me around 2:30 that night, just small talk. She said she couldn't sleep. We hung up by 2:50. At 3:05 a.m., I got another call. No caller ID. I let it ring this time, but I didn't answer. A few hours later, I saw flashing lights outside my window. Brooke's apartment was across from mine, 3rd floor. Police, tape, neighbors talking in hushed voices. I ran downstairs, barefoot, asking what happened. A cop stopped me and just said, "Stay back, sir." Brooke was gone. No forced entry, no sounds of struggle, nothing missing. Just gone. After that, I stopped sleeping. I dug into news reports, online forums, anything. I found 3 more similar deaths in neighboring towns. Always the same pattern. Late-night phone call, then disappearance or murder, usually within hours. The police weren't seeing it. Or maybe they were and just didn't know what to do. That's when I decided to test something. I asked my cousin Alex to stay with me for a week. He didn't believe me at first, but after I showed him what I'd found, the call records, the timing, the news clippings, he agreed. We set up a camera pointed at the door, left all the lights off. We waited. On the 3rd night, the phone rang again. 3 a.m. exactly. No caller ID. Alex answered this time, put it on speaker. The voice was almost too quiet to hear, barely a whisper, but we both caught it. Alex Kane, 43 Norwood Street. He hung up immediately. We checked the hallway, the building entrance, nothing. But the next morning when I went to take out the trash, something was taped to the outside of our door. A piece of paper, plain white, with one sentence written in red ink. You didn't answer. Alex left that afternoon. I couldn't blame him. I installed a deadbolt, bought a bat, started sleeping with the lights on. The calls kept coming, sometimes once a week, sometimes twice in one night, always at 3 a.m., always whispering the name of someone I knew, a neighbor, a co-worker, a guy from the gym. Eventually, I stopped trying to warn people. Nobody listened. Nobody believed me. And those who did didn't survive long. The final straw was when the voice said my mother's name. She lived 2 states away, had nothing to do with this. I called her immediately and begged her not to answer unknown numbers. I offered to drive up. She told me I needed sleep. That night, I got another call. This time, the voice said something new. You should have listened sooner. That was the night I decided to leave town. I packed a bag, bought a burner phone, and drove 10 hours north to a cabin a friend let me borrow. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I stayed off social media, disconnected my number, got rid of the old phone entirely. I thought I'd escaped it. But last night, the burner rang. No number, no caller ID, and the voice whispered just one thing. I see you. So if you're reading this and your phone rings at 3 a.m., don't answer. And whatever you do, don't listen.